Welcome to Nerdology, where we dive into the science behind consumer behavior, sensory research, and the latest hot topics in behavioral science. Quick insights, expert reviews, and conference highlights, all in bite-sized form. Let's get nerdy. Hey there, welcome back to Nerdology by Nerdoscientist, the podcast where we explore the messy, fascinating space between brains, behavior, and business. Once again, I'm Michelle Niedziela, your resident neuroscientist, and today I want to talk about something I find myself saying again and again and again in my work with companies. Humans are complicated. Now, that might actually sound obvious to some. Of course, people are complex, but when it comes to studying consumers, especially with neuroscience tools, we do seem to forget that. I'm often hired to teach or review how tools like EEG, GSR, eye tracking, or IATs are being used in research. And I always find myself sounding kind of like a broken record, reminding people that these tools are not magic answer machines. They're just that. They're just tools. And they're really only as good as the questions that we actually ask with them. Like, let's take EEG, for example. People love to think of it as a window into the brain and how the brain is activated. It lights up. But it actually doesn't tell you what someone feels. It tells you electrical activity on the scalp, filtered through layers of interpretation and based on theories of emotion and cognition that are frankly still being worked out. Or the IAT, which has become super popular, the implicit association test. Not all IATs are the same. The timing, the format, even the words you choose all affect what you measure. You can't just run an IAT and assume you've unlocked some unconscious consumer truth. The real issue is that we often expect these tools to give us simple, clear answers, but just as Lisa Feldman Barrett's work on emotion shows, emotions aren't universal programs. They're constructed, shaped by personal experience and context, and that means that your data will be messy. And that's not a bug, it's actually a feature. In fact, one thing I try to stress in my workshops is that using neuroscience tools doesn't make things clearer or cleaner. It often amplifies individual differences. Two people can have totally different brain or physiological responses to the same ad, for example, or the same fragrance. And that doesn't make one of them wrong. This leads me to something I think more people in business research need to hear. More complexity doesn't mean worse results. When we lean into the variability, when we design studies to explore the margins instead of just the means, we actually get more interesting, more human insights. And there's beauty in those outliers. There's value in the noise. But we have to be willing to let go of the idea that a tool will give us a simple answer. The tool is only part of the picture. The real power lies in smart research design, grounded theory, and critical thinking. So if your team is using or thinking about using neuroscience or behavioral tools in your consumer research, I'd love to help, but definitely reach out to someone who can help you. Whether it's in designing studies, training teams, or just asking better questions, that's where the real magic happens. So thanks for listening. And remember, being human is messy, but it's also what makes research worth doing. If you enjoyed this episode, check out the full blog post on the website, nerdoscientist.com, and be sure to follow me for more short bursts of science, strategy, and a little nerdy love. So see you next time.